All right, what's going on, guys? It's back to being a beautiful day in the neighborhood, man. Last couple of days it's been a little rainy here in New York. I don't know, maybe it's all us Knicks fans giving some thundercloud, calling it some thundercloud, doing some rain dancing, Native American style. But so the boys is gonna get on here and talk more playoff basketball. This one really don't have a theme. I'm not going to talk about LeBron here at all. He's irrelevant, as I said. And I'm just going to really talk about what's been going on currently in the league. So, it's going to be a reaction. I'm not going to do an OKF. I'm not going to do an OKF to after the game today. Because it's going to be episode 13, and for those 13 is the unlucky number. There's actually a fear of the number 13. That's an actual phobia. I don't want to jinx my team. I do believe in jinxes and stuff like that. Right now, I'm gonna, and part of what I'm gonna be ranting about is the number 13. So last night's game. Let's start with last night's game. Cleveland went to Indiana, blew them out. Cleveland had their full team, which will tell you that Cleveland is the better team. But they're down 2-1. So expect Indiana to make their adjustments. And expect, Tyrese Halliburton. For those that said, "Oh, he ain't overrated. He must." I'm gonna tell you something about Tyrese Halliburton. He's one of the biggest front runners in the league, and he made an amazing play. He made an amazing play on that offensive rebound and scramble. That is one of the getting out of him, but that's not typical of how Tyrese Halliburton when I watch him play. That's not typical for Tyrese Halliburton when I watch him play. He's a front runner. Well, Mr. Halliburton is pretty much, in my opinion, a front runner. And again, look, the Pacers have a lot of offensive game weaponry. They have a good rim protector in Turner. They're not the best rebounding team, but they have a wave of scorers. So that's going to, put them in the playoffs. That's going to put them in the upper side. They can expect to get to the second round this year. And, with Cleveland and, obviously it shows you how important Garland was. It shows you how important Mobley is. Being the defensive player of the year. Again, based on what I see in the playoffs, I might want to, I think that OG Anunoby was robbed. Not only to not get it, but to not even be a finalist. I'll keep it real. I understand Draymond Green has a great reputation. But this year, especially pound for pound, game for game, OG Anunoby should have been in it. Dyson Daniels being in it, wouldn't have been mad if he made it. But OG Anunoby is showing you, and he's showing you in the playoffs. And I get, maybe Dyson Daniels would be getting a lot of these steals as well if he was in the playoffs. But OG Anunoby, and I'll get to that later, is showing you, his defensive impact. And if he plays the 65 games and he repeats this performance, he better be a defensive player of the year finalist next year. But sticking with the Cavs, the Cavs are showing that, and again, they have to win game. I think they came in there with 2 must-win games. They need to go back to their crib. Look, obviously, if they lose game 4, and it's really must-win for the Pacers as well, because then the Cavs will have all the momentum going back to their crib. But the Pacers are markedly the underdog team. Again, I think the Cavs are a better team than the Pacers. But they needed all their troops. And this is the thing, man. This is the theme. For everybody that knew what was going to happen in the playoffs, look, the other thing, that 115, 120, you got 90s basketball going on right now. And this goes to show you, man. Seriously, this goes to show you. For those that speak on past eras of basketball, you're not getting it. You're not getting physicality is everything. And so now the regular season is high pace, jack up threes, this and the third, and it's showing you when teams are allowed, or teams can see you time and time again and can adjust to what you do, it's a different story than flying in the regular season and just putting up your game plan like it's going to work seamlessly. It's not how it works in playoff basketball. I always thought it was a cliche that the regular season doesn't count. It's not that the regular season doesn't count. You get an outline on what teams look like matchup wise. You get an outline, but that don't mean the way it plays in the regular season. Especially if you got both teams on focus, both teams in the... See, what's the thing about playoffs? Both teams, one team travels, the other team stays home. But they're in the same city. And, what'll happen is, after the game, the home teams will stay home. Let's just say between games 2 and games 3, right? The Knicks get 2 days rest. So the Knicks, after game 3 in Boston, came home. Sleep in their own bed. Boston flies in. Boston probably flew in last night to get settled. So now they became the road team traveling. But at the end of the day, you get the same amount of rest for both teams. So you get teams on equal footing. This is why sometimes you got to really look at the matchups. Like when the Lakers beat the Celtics were playing in LA. The Celtics were playing a back-to-back. They had just went to overtime against the Clippers, and then they get the Lakers on a back-to-back. The Lakers are well rested at home. I think the Lakers might have had 2 days off. And you get a team coming in playing 4-5 on a West Coast road trip. Is that two teams on equal footing? Well, see, in the playoffs, you take that away. And this is why when we talk about the bubble chip, guys were just showing up for practice. It's like showing up for a scrimmage. That was the most. That's a difference about, because there is a routine when a team is traveling to a city, checking into a hotel, getting there, you want to get a proper rest. You don't know if the players want to hang out a little bit. Get in there, get rest, get out, come on and shoot around. Then get ready for the game. Now we got an early 3:30 game, so everybody on the West Coast can see it. It'll be 12:30 on the West Coast, right? There's no need to do a game at 12. So we have people on the West Coast wake up at 9. Because it's only 2, we don't have to stuff 4 games in it because there's only 4 series going on. That's what happens at the second round and out. And so now, again, teams on equal footing. So, this is how you have to judge things when it comes to the playoffs. It's a little, it's not the stupid cliche that the regular season don't matter. It's just that that there are markedly different conditions between flying regular season. And look, nowadays, especially where teams don't practice as much, where teams don't do as much, teams are not going to necessarily be locked in and prepared, especially for a rival like they are in the playoffs. They're going to be more again, everybody's playing generally the same conditions. Other than, again, Boston probably slept in their own beds the last 2 nights and then flew in last night. The night after game 3, after game 2, and then the night after game, and then Thursday. And then they probably flew in to New York yesterday, got in their hotels, chilled, and now they're ready for games 3 and 4. And then by Monday they'll be back to Boston. Knicks will stay, then the Knicks will fly in. That's it. That's the way. That's the flow of a playoff series. A lot different than what you catch in the regular season. And this is not making no excuses for like, just say a team that gets swept, but it's just showing you things are a little bit different. You can't judge it the same way because it's not equal footing. So anyway, you get game 3 last night, all important game, pivotal game 3 for OKC and Denver. And Denver pulled this one out in overtime. Now again, if you look through my channel, you'll see that I made a Nikola Jokic video. And for those that like to say that Joker is getting robbed, that Denver's doing him bad, he doesn't have help. No, Joker has plenty of help. Now I get it. Again, one thing we like to do is we like to judge teams. First of all, Jamal Murray is a great number 2. Jamal Murray is a great player. He's one of those situations where when you look at a Tim Hardaway, who had terrific stats in the 90s, but when you had Tim Hardaway, he's in the Western Conference with guys like Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, Gary Payton. Like most years, you're going to take at most 3 guards in a conference. So a Kevin Johnson, a Gary Payton, like Magic, until he was in there 91. And I know, look, I did just Gary Payton. Gary Payton was a rookie the year that Magic's last year, right? But you did have a plethora of guards. You did have a bunch of guards. So, like a Derek Harper was a solid, solid 2-way guard, was not going to make it in the West. I'm trying to think of Gary Porter was an all-star cap. So to say that Jamal Murray is all-star caliber, he's all-star caliber. It's just tough in the conference when you have to. Luka Doncic checks in as a point guard, and Luka being injured this year gave him an opportunity. But then you got to go up against SGA. You got to go up against James Harden wound up getting one of the, and he's a 2 guard playing point guard. Yeah, I'm spraying in my house, so I'm excuse the coughing. But he's a 2 guard playing point guard. And you pretty much got that. You got guys, Luka could be your small forward conceivably. Luka's the type of player with his height and ability and his rebounding ability. If the Lakers like the point guard somewhere in the draft and they wanted to get him in the starting lineup, they can do that. You understand? They can do that. And so, again, that's just to say that a guy like Jamal Murray is competing with guys like that. And so it's not a knock that he's not an all-star. If they're taking technically players that, if you look at it in reality, play different positions, but they're playing at it and they're amassing great numbers. Because at the end of the day, what we saw last night, we saw Nikola Jokic not have his best game by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, he accumulated stats. And again, I'm a big Jokic fan. But this narrative needs to go away that he doesn't have help. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What are we talking here? Again, you don't have to have an all-world, all-NBA player to have help. Now, again, if you want to properly assess the Nuggets, and this is where people don't get, when people don't like a player like Westbrook, when the Nuggets have so many buttoned up, great players, like, again, a guy like Aaron Gordon, who's a great finisher, but he's not a guy you want to run offense through or expect to get his own shot, right? He's not a guy like in Orlando. You saw when he was in Orlando and he was their main guy. Orlando was never going to be very good. So Orlando eventually trades him. They draft Paulo Banchero. They draft Franz Wagner, and he was expendable. He didn't come again. He gave, when he came to Denver, he gave them a level of athleticism they didn't have. But again, he's not a slasher. He's not a guy you want the ball in his hand, creating his own shot. That's not his game, right? So when you put in a Westbrook, you put in a second guy who is a little bit more dynamic, a little bit quicker. They can get his own shot and create for others, like they can slash. That's why for you Westbrook haters and you guys that want everybody to play the same style on a team, it doesn't work like that. You need a guy like Westbrook to bend and break offenses, to improvise. Yeah, he's gonna make some bad decisions. He's gonna make some but see, I mean, how many turnovers did Joker have last night? Again, remember, I'm a Jokic fan, but he had 8 turnovers. If you look at it, it's probably the lowest assist to turnover ratio in his playoff career right now. He's got a lot of high turnover games, a lot of them. So realize that. Realize that. You know, but again, that narrative. Again, this on this channel, man. I love to kill narratives. I love to kill narratives, and I'm gonna say the best for last. Which is, you know, I mean, obviously the other series, Dakota State, Minnesota. Obviously they're missing. You know, I talked about it yesterday, but obviously they're missing. They're gonna be missing Steph. The key to that series, if I expect Minnesota to win regardless, but for Golden State to have a chance, obviously they need their star. They need a franchise player. You know, Mr. 37-year-old Steph Curry. So obviously they need that. You know, so here we are. You know, I'm going to get to the main, and again, I didn't want to make an optimistic Knicks fan because I don't want to do number 13. But I'm going to do it. Like I said, I'm analyzing for what I see. And again, I can sit there and watch the film and see basketball. And again, I probably should start incorporating film in my content. I will be doing this in the near future. I need a little bit, but I'm not. Listen, I will never be an 8-year-old hoops guy, right? I will never be even the guys at FYF who I disagree with their takes vehemently, but they know how to find film and use film to make their points. I'm a narrative guy. I'm a narrative guy, and I know I can see enough basketball and disseminate enough basketball. See, I'm the type of guy. I'm a type of basketball fan. I could look at a team play 2 or 3 times and pretty much get their point, their plan of attack. And it's like, especially easy in this day and age. It's especially easy in this day and age where it's such a copycat league that everybody's doing the same thing, right? And here's where I probably should give Coach Thibodeau a little bit of an apology, because it's so funny that I'm asking him to coach more modern when he's coaching his style, and really the theme of the playoffs has been the teams that play defense and can slow you down are having success. And I think this is what needs to be really addressed with the Knicks Celtics series. You know, I'm watching a video right now. Rusty Buckets, I believe, is, you know, shout out to him. I was just watching this because a lot of times, and again, that's me. I'm not going to steal nobody's content, but a lot of times I will watch what they say. And again, I'm so happy that guys are doing this on YouTube, man. I just want to be one of them, and I think I have a unique voice to get things out there. I see things from my perspective, but then I love to see other content creators to see the game the way I see it and actually look at the game. Again, they might be better at breaking down film and coming up with technical terms and stuff like that. I didn't play much organized. I played organized, a little bit of organized basketball, but I didn't play a lot of organized basketball. I played basketball a lot. Pickup, street, you know, again, tournaments, stuff like that. So I didn't play, you know, D1, D3, nothing like that. I played intramurals. I played tournaments and stuff like that. Not a heavy lot, but what did I play a bunch of pickup? And so, you know, for those that played organized, it's a little bit different than street ballers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we all know the game. It's important to realize we all know the game to a certain level. And it's just certain things in basketball that are just simple, right? So, you know, the theme is that the Knicks are, you know, the idea, I keep arguing with Celtics fans who hear that they were this on uncontested threes. And they're not understanding that just because a three is uncontested doesn't mean you were wide open. Doesn't mean the shot wasn't under the rest. Doesn't mean the shot wasn't rushed or wasn't fading or it wasn't. It doesn't mean that guys got, like, the idea that people think that the Celtics missed 27 in game one, missed 32. That's what I think it was. They missed 32 uncontested shots. That they sat there and missed 32. You know, when a guy is wide open, he can sit there, find the laces on the ball, and just load up a shot. He's that wide open. And you're talking about you got 2 or 3 seconds to do all that. That's wide open. I don't know if you understand that NBA players are tall and they move very fast. So an uncontested shot is a shot where there isn't a defender within 6 feet. Do you understand that the players are the shortest player is 6 feet? So that's a body length. That's a body length. And many of those shots, okay, a player was in the 6 feet, but he's closing in. See, they're not. He's closing in, and if he's closing in, then the shooter that wants that 3-point shot is going to put it up before that player gets a chance to close in and successfully contest the shot. That's the difference between a contested three, and I've seen, Tatum takes a lot of contested threes because he uses his length and the confidence in his shooting form to get it over. But he's not making those as well. The Celtics shot selection has not been great. They have not been sitting there taking wide open, let me look at the ball. White has taken a few of those. And again, as Rusty Buckets was breaking it down, they are best when they drive the ball. They are best when they drive the ball or get an offensive rebound, scramble out, get the shot off. That's when they are best. But most of what Boston's attack is, and I've said this all along. Again, I've said this all along. That they not standing 5 guys standing outside, kicking around the perimeter, looking for the best shot. Was not going to work in the playoffs. They could come out and be on fire, and that's one of the things. They could come out and hit 40% of their threes, right? They could come out and hit 50% of their threes. If they hit 50% of their threes, they're probably going to win. But that's any team in the league. I want you to understand, the Knicks were 9 for 32 in Game 2, and this is the thing. I put up the stats. See, here's what we coming to fruition. The Knicks really should have won 55 games. Boston would have still been, Boston would still been, but the idea that you guys think because of the 4 games, and this is not to give excuses for what the Knicks did in the regular season, but the idea that Celtics fans and Knicks detractors thought that the Knicks were this far behind the Boston Celtics, you gotta come to God. You gotta be, and I'm not. Look, this is what I've said. I've seen it for years. This Knicks group, and again, I know we've made some changes, but this Knicks group is just as talented as the Knicks group that have been playing Boston for the last few years. Boston's made a couple of changes, right? But this championship group has been together for a couple of years. The group is not like it's night and day talent wise, and for Boston fans to have thought that they were just going to run over the Knicks, then that goes to show you. And so again, the cope out there now is, well, if Boston make their threes, again, if the Knicks make their threes, if the Knicks come out hot from 3, and we're just as hot as the Celtics, the Knicks are going to win. I'm going to tell you why. Because guess what? If Boston sticks to their guns, and I said this at halftime when we were down 11 in Game 2. I said if the Knicks come, I see this. Boston actually they made a point. So in the first half, they took 29 threes, 29 twos, and 21 threes. They took exactly 50 shots in the first half of game 2. And they had an 11-point lead, 51-40. Okay? They actually came into the second half. They actually put it up to 20. The Knicks finished off the third quarter strong. They came in the fourth quarter with a 12-point lead. So they actually outplayed the Knicks by 1 point in the third quarter. They wound up shooting 43s, so they shot 19 more threes in the second half, which is a big, they shot 19 threes in the third quarter. So it shows that technically they changed up their game plan. But then again, they kind of, a lot of the things they play, and if anybody's been watching the series, yeah, a couple of those threes could have fell down, could have dropped. Again, so about the Knicks. In the first game, when the Knicks shot 17 of 37, We shot 7 of 25 on what we considered uncontested three. That means the rest of our threes were either made under duress or wide open. There's 3 classifications. Well, uncontested, where you have a defender, but he didn't get over the successfully contested. So you have a defender in the area. You have wide open, where it's a complete breakdown, and there's no defender within 10 to 15 feet. And then you have the contested three. So the Knicks were 7 of 25 on uncontested threes themselves. Imagine if we get hot. See, again, just because the three is not contested doesn't mean great defense wasn't played. You're moving the ball to get a 3, and if a team settles for a 3, this is the problem with that 3-point line, that 3-point strategy. And I'm gonna get to why I still believe the Knicks, if the Knicks win, if the Knicks are hot from 3, or shoot an equal amount, because the Knicks have a mid-range. Again, it was pointed out on Go Change Kingdom last night. Again, I go everywhere to watch guys. Even if I don't agree with you, I'll go and watch your content. The Knicks made 4 mid-range on the right, all on the right side, and I can guarantee you 3 of them were for Brunson and 1 of them was from Bridges. We made 4 mid-ranges, and see, that's 8 points, right? But that's the big difference. That's a big difference, and I get right. Oh well. You gotta make if 3 more threes could knock that 4 mid-range out. But see, you're not looking at the game the right way, because those mid-ranges will play with the Knicks play with a purpose. The Knicks can get 3-level scoring with the Celtics. They take 5 to 6 mid-ranges a game. The Knicks made 4 1/4. Knicks made 4 1/4. Think about that. Because if you're telling me, and that's the thing now. The Knicks are equal, especially with Mitchell Robinson back, are equally as good as Boston is on defense. That's where back in the 2022 season when Boston made it to the finals and the Knicks won the lottery, Boston got on their defensive game. The Knicks were still a good defensive team that year, but we had no point guard. They had a point guard. Boston had a point guard. I believe Rozier was still a point guard. And we had Alec Burks as our point guard. So that was the difference. Boston were able to lock people down defensively, started playing a good enough offense. Remember, Brown and Tatum was still kind of young. They weren't as good as shooters that they are now. They didn't have the Peyton Pritchards of the world and all these other, 3-point shooter Hausers. Again, and that's another key. It looked like Houses lost for the series, or I'm not sure what the status is for Game 3, but it looked like Houses is lost. Porzingis is not. That's a big factor too. But here's the deal, bros. It's playoffs. We didn't have Mitch for the regular season. I would rather have Mitch in the playoffs than the regular season. I know Porzingis was hurt 2 of those games, but he played. And this is a lingering factor. This is a lingering factor with the Celtics. This is lingering. The health is part of the deal. No Knick fan is going to cry tears for what Boston is going through with injuries and illnesses and sicknesses and stuff like that, because that's part of the game. The Boston has an 11 deep roster. The Knicks have a deep roster. Just Tibbs will play who he wants to play. I think Precious Achiuwa gets some minutes, and I think that's the thing with Tibbs. Because again, I said all Tibbs' apology. Still things I don't like about his rotation. Again, Tibbs' 90s style. It's turning out that the 90s style is working, but you don't have to run a 90s style rotation. That I don't believe. I do believe you need to go deep into your roster, especially at a certain time. Like if Cat picks up early foul trouble and they want to do Hacker Mitch, and Hacker Mitch might be messing up our offense, well, you gotta go to Precious. Now you have to you can't sit there and be like, well, what's the name is not gonna get any minutes unless it's an emergency. No. That would be the emergency. Because we need Cat. This is basic. You need your best player out there in the fourth quarter. So you need to protect Cat. If Cat gets one stupid, silly foul, and we know that he's prone to do, Again, something Tibbs should be coaching out of him, but I get it. You can't coach that much in today's NBA. But if Cat gets that silly foul early, well, you need to sit him for about 4 or 5 minutes. Let him calm down. Sit him for 4 or 5 minutes. Let him watch. Let him watch, because he also will be able to, from the bench, see how they're trying to attack him and get him in that foul trouble. That's the key. These are the keys, right? These are the keys. Look, I expect today's game and the prediction, and again, I know, as a Knicks fan, that this is almost kind of throwing in the optimistic Knicks fan into this video. One of the keys is Tatum is going to come out trying to prove he's the man. And see, that's the thing. If Tatum tries to come out and make a statement game and have 40, but he does it at an inefficient clip, and he might do it at the expense of Brown and White doing their thing, right? And Horford, because it looks like Porzingis is going to try to play, but Porzingis is not going to give you starters. If Porzingis gives you starters minutes for any game the rest of the playoffs, the rest of this series at least, I'd be surprised, but you never know. Again, I don't know what's going on. Like, he has a viral infection. He has an illness. He has an upper respiratory. It looks like they're going to, he's going to have to go, I don't know. In the offseason, he's going to have to really see a specialist or something. I don't know what's going on. But then, and again, I don't, Porzingis is the guy. Again, he's a Knick. He's a former Knick. He's a Knick draft pick. Fan-wise, I feel like he's kind of disrespected the Knicks, as if we did him wrong by drafting him, helping him become a potential star, and then he just wanted to go play with Luka, so Luka didn't pass on the ball for the years he was there, and now he wound up in no man's land in Washington for a couple of years, and then he managed to bounce to the Celtics and win a ring. Cool, great for you, but we wanted to make you one of the best of all time, and he wound up becoming a role player. Like, he wound up becoming satisfied being a role player, and that's great. That's good for him, right? But but I don't wish any like bad health or illness. Like, if this is going to affect the rest of his career, I don't want that at all. Again, you're a Celtic, you're an enemy. Again, I got a lot of think about this. I got a lot of respect for the Celtics because, again, I was one that applauded their commitment to defense, their step up on defense, and their ascent a few years ago. But see, this is the problem, and I'm gonna get this is the last part I'm gonna talk about. The Celtics and the Celtic fan arrogance. The Celtics, they from their announcers. I don't think they understand right now that they're in a fight. See what happens, and I said this the theme coming in. A lot of times I like to look at team basketball as the same as boxing. And it's not the same as boxing, but in a way, an analogy like boxing. What happens is you in a fight and you don't properly scout your opponent, or you don't properly give respect for their punching power, you can go out in the ring and get hurt. If you, it's what I said on Go Chase Kingdom last night. It's like you got up on points because you're doing things technically, but you're trying to close it out and you're trying to throw haymakers, but you're up on points, and you're not realizing the team that you're fighting, the guy that you're fighting, can punch back. If you keep throwing these haymakers. And the other team starts rallying up on you. Now you're gonna lose. Now you're gonna lose, and you're gonna potentially get knocked out yourself. And that's what happened in the games 1 and game 2. There's a reason why the Knicks came back, fellas. There's a reason why. Look, Boston fans, and I've said this a lot. Boston fans, for having such a great franchise, Boston fans don't know shit about basketball. Look, there's a few that do, and there's a few that don't. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Look, there's a lot of stupid-ass Knicks fans as well. But I'll say about half of our fan base know what they're talking about when they talk about maybe even 60%. We got multiple Knicks channels. We got, I just have a Knicks segment. I'm not trying to be a Knicks channel. That's not, I'm a huge Knicks fan. But I'm not gonna get to the point where I dedicate myself to only watching the Knicks. I watch around the league. I've always done that. The Knicks are my team within the league, and so I'm gonna obviously watch them the most. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not, maybe in the future, maybe I can do a Knicks channel. But there's so many out there. Shout out to All Ball TV, who they center on the Knicks, but they also talk about the rest of the league. Knicks Fan TV, which is dedicated to the Knicks. I'll check the Knicks Fan. Shout out to Nothing But Knicks. Knicks Film School. I mean, there's so many channels dedicated to the Knicks, and I appreciate you guys. I watch you guys as much as I can, man. I'm a subscriber to about 2 or 3 of you guys. And, so with all that going on, man, the Celtics fans, Brian Scalabrine, Eddie House. Number one, even Wally Serbiak was an all-star level player. He wasn't even a Knick, but he's a Long Island guy, so he comes and he works for the Knicks. We got Walt Clyde Frazier. We got Earl Pearl Monroe doing games. We got Knick legends in the building. I get it. You got Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Maybe Kevin McHale's with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Larry Bird is I believe he's with the league office at this point. But your legends, Big Chief is not a media guy, so you're not gonna get him. But your legends don't come through. I give props to Detroit getting about 5 or 6 of their guys. Ben Wallace. Even though Jalen Rose never played for the Pistons, he's a Michigan guy from Detroit. Chauncey, I get them getting their guys. What was the Bad Boys? The Bad Boys, when they broke in the Bad Boys, they said, Bill and Ben ain't fucking with them. Isaiah Thomas is a national guy, but he still could have came. I mean, we get our national guys in the media to come. Celtics, man, listen, say what you want. Say what you want. Y'all don't deserve the success that y'all have had. And look, there's no being no envy. There's not being envious. I got respect for Bill Russell. Problem is, I got more respect for Bill Russell than most Celtics fans. I have more respect for Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and DJ and Bill Walton and Danny Ainge and Celtics fans got. Because it's so funny. Every time the Celtics are used to denigrate Michael Jordan, there ain't no Celtics fan popping up talking about that team. Because a lot of y'all are fly-by-night. A lot of y'all went there during the D. Brown, Brian Shaw, Kevin Gamble days, Dino Raja. Y'all went there. Y'all went there when they were mediocre to bad in the lottery every year in the 90s and most of the 2000s until they made the big trade to get Kevin Garnett. Y'all don't even know what they traded to get Kevin Garnett. Y'all didn't realize that if Boston never traded for Kevin Garnett, maybe they could have drafted Steph Curry. Steph Curry could have won Boston Green. It is what it is. It is what it is. They got a championship out. They got 2 finals runs. They got a good period, about 5-6 years of contention, and that's what you do. But a lot of you Boston fans, man, we can't talk basketball. You are arrogant. You thought that what the Boston Celtics were doing was going to work in the playoffs, and I said it from day one when your team kicked my team's ass. This shit ain't gonna fly. This shit ain't gonna fly in the playoffs. This shit ain't gonna fly all year, and it ain't gonna fly in the playoffs. And one thing again about this Celtics team, they played at the level of their competition, and it's again the idea that the Knicks were below them. No, you're seeing that the Knicks got the same type of punching power as you. We just don't throw. We just are judicious with our shots. We don't throw haymakers. We're not trying to hit a 3. We mix in our offense. We got the better closer. Y'all got Armando Benitez, and we got Mariano Rivera closing games. Let's keep it to stack. Look, Tatum's a terrific player. We've seen him not be able to close out. So I'm just going to go for another minute. This is, again, I can't believe this video I want to go to 40 minutes. But, look, this playoff theme, everybody knew what's going to happen. Look, I'm 6 of 8 right now on series prediction. And I'm telling you, other than Milwaukee, and again, not losing Dame and all that, other than the Milwaukee series, even the other series that I lost, even the other series that I incorrectly predicted, I had Houston beating Golden State, but I had the series going 7. I had Houston in 7, and it turned to be Golden State in 7. I'm pretty much on the money I mean, Cleveland. I still think Cleveland is going to win. I'm actually rooting. Like I said, I'm rooting for Indiana because I want them if the Knicks beat the Celtics. But I'm pretty good on these series, so maybe I know what I'm talking about. All right, guys, peace.